Okay, good news if you are a Fuji X-T1 owner, because as of less than 48 hours ago, you have a new camera. One thing that unfortunately Fuji doesn't do very good, and that's write user manuals, but we can all forgive them for that. Nikon's not any good at it, and neither is Canon. Firmware version 4.2.0 came out less than 48 hours ago, and the main thing that I was looking at, and I was kind of oblivious to the other frou-frou stuff that I don't really care about, was manual focus override while you're in autofocus mode, and vice versa while you're in manual mode, which is really great, awesome features. But what I didn't notice, well I did, but the wording was wrong, and now the Fuji X-T1 is a totally new camera, and it is a different camera with the 4.2.0 firmware that was just released less than 48 hours ago. Amazing. Now this is a different camera. What the hell do I mean? Well, here's the new update from Fuji. It talks about the one thing that they changed. Optional flash units, which I was thinking was referring to the Fuji EF42 flash, can now be used for bracketing and burst photography. Okay, well I didn't think about that too much at the time. With like 4 AA batteries, you still have to have a refresh rate. Now, you got 8 frames per second normally without a flash if you got an ultra-fast SD card. This is a quantum turbo pack. Obviously, this is an expensive little sucker. There are lots of cheaper options available, including the quantum turbo blade or the SC, which are a lot less expensive than this one. This is a lot of power for like hardcore photojournalistic work or weddings. But now the Fuji X-T1 is a totally different beast in a good way, with a speed light and some external power. It doesn't have to be super expensive like this. As I showed you in a prior video, this is now better than the Sony too, by the way. Sony can't do it. A complete photojournalistic professional camera, and it makes it awesome for sports flash photography, where you're talking about continuous high speed light work here. Okay, at 8 frames per second, I can do flash photography now with the Fuji X-T1. Oh God, how useful is that? Most people don't think. Most people think in terms of camera and lens and you know, how good's your camera. 85% of photography, professional photography, is strobist work, speed light work. Studio strobes. When you can do high speed, 8 frames per second, speed light work in burst mode, which everybody knows you got 8 frames per second on the X-T1. When you can do burst mode with speed light, that is a whole nother world. Now, where the X-T1 was 48 hours ago, it is now here. As I showed you in the prior video, I'll show you the link below. That is machine gunning my Fuji X-T1. It did not have that feature 48 hours ago. You have got a new damn camera now that instead of being able to do meow, it can do meow. And that is something that other mirrorless cameras can't do. Amazing! I'm trying to keep myself from cussing right now. Important. Some people they just don't get it. Camera, lens. I got 5 lenses. I got my Fuji. Great. How about this? I add features that turns this now into a perfect photojournalistic camera. Okay? You don't have to have the quantum. There are a few different manufacturers of battery power packs like this, because you got the best speed lights in the world, which I got tons of. The refresh rate, depending on the power output, you know, you can't keep up. Doesn't matter what batteries or how expensive the speed lights are, because I got the best that money can buy. They can't keep up with that kind of refresh rate. Most people don't understand that. That's why I've been telling you people for a long time now, you gotta have a battery pack like this. It doesn't have to be that expensive, but the Fuji can now do it. The Fuji can now do it. All of those shots that I took were perfectly exposed. I was using a SC29 flash cable. You use the cheapy SC17 flash cable since I was shooting in auto mode. Wow. Wow was the word. It was right there ready to bite me in the ass on the 6 points of update and firmware version 4.2.0. So now the Fuji camera is a different beast. There is like a small percentage of people out there that are going to go, and I wasn't paying, I sleep deprived for, I basically haven't slept for the past 3 days except for earlier today. I think it was sleep deprivation because I'm a hardcore person that here's where amateur photography starts and stops. Cameras and lenses. And here's where professional photography goes. Cameras, lenses, strobus tools, speed lights, power packs, more speed lights, more power packs, reflectors, umbrellas, soft boxes. The Fuji camera, the X-T1, is now a different camera. They ought to call it, with the firmware update, the 4.2.0, the X-T1-2, or whatever the hell you want to think about it. I hope you get my point on this. Very important. Now a photojournalist can be seriously looking at this thing. And by the way, looking at this thing more so than a $3,000 camera by another company that I won't name that can't do this. Yeah, it's that important. Maybe not to you, but it is damn important. That makes this a whole nother beast of a camera. So, realization hits home. Okay? Awesome. I was sleep deprived and it was just skipping my brain. Also, I didn't know which optional flashes they referred to. I should have inferred that it could be any speed light. I've already tried it now with SB800s, SB900, SB910, SB700. It has to have a optional power adapter on the front, like I said, because refresh rate on 4AA batteries in machine gun mode and continuous high. You know, a photojournalist now, you can tell any photojournalist out there now that's looking for a mirrorless, is like, well, you know what this will do that $3,000 Tinker toy won't do? I can throw this sucker in continuous high and machine gun the piss out of it, which every photojournalist wants. And you can shoot not just in burst mode, which the X-T1 could have done the whole time, 8 frames per second, but with a power pack and a decent speed light, not the cheap Chinese crap, which don't last that long, especially in burst mode. This is now a kick-ass photojournalistic camera, a kick-ass action camera for doing. When you're talking about, I gotta explain this. Talk about focusing in low light, getting the light out there that fast and capturing the scene as like a biker is rounding a corner. Okay, I've done a lot of stuff for filming fast action sports. And once I was working for the Herald Leader at one point in time, which is a local newspaper. Also Daytona Beach for their paper. And I covered a scene, and I didn't have a power pack, or I had a power pack. It just, the frame rate wasn't enough. I can do this now with the Fuji X-T1. 48 hours ago, this camera couldn't do that. A lot of that stuff is low light. You know, people think that everything is about a fast lens. Well, you know, I got an f1.4, so I can shoot at like dusk light. You know, it still doesn't get you the saturation. This is what professionals know. You got to get that color saturation. You got that freeze frame motion. It's like, well, you've got a fast lens. Like, okay, you can crank up the shutter speed a little bit, but it still ain't enough. It's not enough. Okay, there's a secondary shutter in professional photography, and it's something that people don't process in their mind. You've got the primary shutter for obviously your background. But for isolating your subject, even if you got an f1.4 and you're shooting action, which, you know, there are certainly no telephoto f1.4s, you can't get it. Even if you get it, it's a muddy shot with not enough saturation. Boom, here it is, and now the Fuji can do something now that it could not do 48 hours ago. Okay, so drill that home in your head. It slipped me by going over this because the English of how it was written is kind of poor. That and my sleep deprivation. But now there is, realistically, a whole new Fuji X-T1 camera. It cannot be argued otherwise. Same camera? Yeah, not really. No, it's not. It is, but it isn't. It is so much better now. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you got any questions on anything, and I appreciate it.